Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadram, Jaya Sudarshana.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadramai, Jaya Sudarshana.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadramai, Jaya Sudarshana.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadramai, Jaya Sudarshana.
Jaya Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Sham Sundarade.
Jaya Radha, Shama Sundarada, Shama Sundaradi.
Jaya Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Sham Sundarade.
Jaya Radha, Shama Sundarada, Shama Sundaradi.
Jaya Radha Madana Mohan, Radha Madana Mohan Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhi.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita, Gauramita, Jaya Gauramita.
Jaya
Jaya
Gauranitai, Jaya
Gauramita,
Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jagada Hari Bol,
Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Nitai Gaura Hari
Hari
Bol, Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
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 Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada.
Yo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotra Shrimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki
Jai
Om Vishnu Madhava Mahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shashimad Bhakti Siddham Dasarasi Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Ananda Gauri Vaishnavand ki
Jai.
Namacharya Das Thakur ki
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैतधाधरा शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की
Jai.
Thy go premanande.
Hari Bol.
All glories assembled, devotees of God is assembled.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, praise verses 20 and 21. Text 20. Kamaiste hridajnanam pravadyande anya devataha tam tam niyamamastaya pragritya niyada swayam. Kamaiste hridajnanam pravadyande anya devata tam tam niyamamastaya pragritya niyada swayam. Kamaiste hridajnanam pravadyande anya devata tam tam niyamamastaya pragritya niyada swayam. Okay, see that acronym,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kamaistaistai hridajnana prabhadyande anyadevada tam tam niyamamastaya pragritya niyada swaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Snigdhamaji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
Hare
ओम
Krishna.
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. कामैस्ते हृतज्ञाना प्रपद्यन्त्यन्यदेवतः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियतस्तथा. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Swaya. Nita Swaya. Hare Krishna. Okay.
हरे
Bakri
कृष्ण
Mataji.
प्रभु जी. स्वया स्वया.
Swaya. Yes, Swaya. Yes. Right. Bakri Mataji, can you read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kamaistairhridajnana prapadyante anyadevata tam tam niyamamastaya prakrutya niyatha swaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 21. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta tadaya chidumichari tasya tasya charam sashadham tameva vidadamyaham. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya chidumichari tasya tasya charam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchidumichhadi tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Hare Krishna. Snigdhamaji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
The translation we didn't read, no? Right.
यो यो यायं तनो भक्ता श्रद्धया चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याश्चलं श्रद्धं तामेव विद्याम्यहम्.
Vidadhamyaham.
विदधाम्यहम्. हरे कृष्ण
Right.
प्रभु.
Hare Krishna. Vaikhri Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchitumiच्छति tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Bol.
See that Akrani?
Yo yo yam tanum bhakta Shraddhayarchirumichari Tasya tasya jalam Shraddham Tameva vidadamyaham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Right. And first, I think we are not read the translation. You can read the
No.
translation of 20, verse 20.
I am in everyone's heart.
No, you
is
can,
the-
no. Verse 20, we are not read.
Yes,
Verse
Prabhuji, I
20.
will read both. Yes,
Yeah, I
verse
can read.
20.
Yes.
Those whose minds are disturbed by material desires wander on to demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Verse 21. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship the demigods, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanadvirandasya Jnananjanashalakayam Chachurunmeridam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamahyam Gadadi Swapadandigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsta Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Saganadagunananvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladidam Shvishagan Vidamstam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpade Gopesha Gopiga Kanda Radha Kanda Namastude Taptaganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanasude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpadarubhascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Kamaistai hridajnanam prabhadyande anyadevadam tam tam niyamamasthaya pragritya niyada swayam. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Hare Krishna. So, from verse 13 onwards, Krishna was speaking about surrender. The ultimate purpose of surrender, we can understand, is to get out of modes. Only when we are free from modes, then only we are free from this the tie knots which are tying us to this material world through vasanas, through karmas, and through gunas. So you have this particular guna. According to this particular guna, you do some actions. And according to the actions, some residual vasanas, impressions will be there. And these impressions create desires for sense objects. So many desires we find basically because of vasanas only. We develop so much desire, so many desires. According to vasanas, everyone has got their own particular vasanas, and therefore the desires of different persons will be different. But ultimately, the common thing is that everybody is looking for pleasure. In our DYPH, I don't know whether, I think most people attempt DYPH, discover your personal happiness. It is seen that one young girl is looking at that actually two couples, one young couple and an old couple. The young girl is desiring the diamonds of the old one. Now you can understand, young couple, they are not very rich, but the old couple are very rich. So the young girl likes to have the diamonds worn by the old woman, and the old woman wants to have the physical or the figure of this young girl. And the young man, he wants a position, a power, prestige of this old man, and the old man wants the young girl. So superficially, it may seem that people are having different tastes, different interests are there, different objects are there. But ultimately, the basis of these objects is a tendency to seek pleasure. So we can understand that seeking pleasure, the need for enjoyment, the need for pleasure is embedded in the senses and the minds and intelligence of the living entities. Because the desire for pleasure actually comes from soul itself. The soul by nature is Satchidananda, a fragmented portion of the Supreme Personality. Qualitatively, that's why we always say that qualitatively we are same with Krishna, because Krishna is Satchidananda, and in our original position we are also Satchidananda. Sat, eternity, Chit, knowledge, and Ananda, bliss. So our original nature is Satchidananda, just like Krishna's nature only. But being a fragmented part of Krishna, we have this tendency, and we are prone to attracted to a material energy of Krishna, and having been attracted, we started our journey of material life. It has been going on for countless, limitless number of births. So in the material condition, we have our gunas, and based on the gunas we act, and due to action, in the next life we get some vasanas, impressions, and according to those impressions, again we are getting attracted. So this is a cycle. So you can see the base, the foundation, the whole thing which is tying us, binding us to the material world is gunas. Guna, karma, vasana. And again, action. So the only way we can get out of guna, Krishna says it very clearly, Devi Hesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duretyaya, Mameva Ye Prabhadyande Maya Medam Taranti Te. It's way to surrender to Krishna only. Mam tu avibhijarena bhakti yogena sevade sagunan samiti dedan brahma bhuyaya kalpade. Which is the sloga? Vaikhari Mataji? Which sloga is this? It's from Bhagavad Gita. If you don't know, you should ask. It's in Bhagavad Gita only, 14th chapter, verse 26. So if you want to be liberated from gunas, you have to worship Krishna only. So for that, we have to surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna speaks about two categories of people who surrender to Krishna, who do not surrender to Krishna. Verse 15 speaks of four categories who do not surrender. And verse 16 speaks about four categories who surrender. And the degree of surrender is different between different bhaktas, as we have seen that. There is mixed devotion. In mixed devotion, there are the various categories are there. And in that also there are different degrees. So Krishna says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tadaiva bhajami ham. So according to as and they surrender, accordingly he gives, Krishna reciprocates. So that's why you find that Krishna has got different attachment to different devotees. Krishna of course says later that I am equal to everyone. But to a degree to which the living entity is surrendered to Krishna and getting attached to Krishna, to that extent Krishna is also same way. I am responding, reciprocating. So that's why Krishna says Tesham jnani nityayukta ega bhaktir vishishyade priyohi jnanino atyartam aham sachamamai priya udara sarva evede jnanitmatmamatmadam, isn't it? So jnanitu atmaiva me madam astidaha sahuyuktatma mam eva anuttamam gadim. So as Krishna has selected out the jnani who has got immense faith on Krishna because of his knowledge of Krishna, right knowledge is acquired. And based on that knowledge, he has got faith. And with that faith, he is enduring to serve Krishna in the devotional service. And among the devotees who are pure devotees who are enduring to love Krishna, they are situated in different rasas. Now you can see that vasanas and rasas is a rasa which you have for Krishna. Vasanas is vasana you have for material objects. So vasanas, you can say, is a distorted form of rasas. In a pure stage, we have rasas. And to a degree which we have the attachment to Krishna is there, that rasas also differ. So basically, you can see that this jnana is a foundation, and scriptures is a foundation for jnanas, and jnana is a foundation for faith, and faith is a foundation for preeti. So you can see that some people are devotees are 24 hours thinking of Krishna only. Superficially, they may not appear to have a great training in science, shastras, but they appear to always engaged thinking about Krishna only. So how it is possible? That is answered by Srimad Bhagavatam in 3rd canto, Kapila Udesha, chapter 33, verse 7. Ho badasya pajo adogariyan yajuhagre vartade namatubhyam tevastavaste juhunu asasnurarya brahmana churnama granandiyete. So how badasya pajo adogariyan? Even if he is a Chandala, he is supposed to be Garyan. Garyan means in a high position. Garyan, Vishishta, an elite person, Gariye. Even Shabaja is an elite person because why? Yet Jihagre Vartade Namatubhyam, always chanting on Krishna's name. And why is he chanting Krishna's name always? It is to be understood that a person who is always chanting Krishna's name 24 hours, he would have executed all kinds of penances, sacrifices according to Vedic rituals, study the Vedic literatures many times, taking bath in a holy place of pilgrims, etc., whatever is recommended in Vedas to purify yourself. It's already been executed in previous lives. And in that pure state, in this birth, is always chanting Krishna's name. Logavahya, not caring for others, always. But then we have to give some allowance to the circumstances we are living also. Like the advice given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is intense devotion. Intense devotion for Krishna, Radharani, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, it's so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only, and through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Radharani. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises him that since you are a grihastha, you are living in a house, don't openly show your emotions to others, in front of others, because they are not developed, they are not advanced devotees. And since they are not advanced, they will not be able to understand your devotion, which will be mistaken for, misinterpreted in many ways. This devotion will be the nature, these characteristics of devotee will be misinterpreted in many ways, different ways, by these karmis who are not in the devotional path. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises Raghunath Das Goswami, you pretend to be one among them externally, but internally you always be thinking of Krishna. Otherwise, it will be a disturbing situation in the house for devotee. And these people can create all kinds of nonsense for the devotees. So it's better to pretend, at least externally pretend something, but internally always be devoted to Krishna. Are we following? Vaikari Mataji, are we following? You are mute. Right. So, people who have surrendered to Krishna, who have full faith in Krishna and surrendered to Krishna, Anuttamam Gadim, they reach that highest position, Anuttamam Gadim. But in these verses, Krishna is speaking about people who have got faith, not in Krishna, but in some other demigods. And they surrender to these demigods. So the basic principle of surrender, generating from faith, is direct that, but this faith is directed not towards Krishna, but towards demigods. Why so? That is Krishna again, Kama is say Hridajnana. Because of the intense, when you are totally intent on desires for certain subjects, your intelligence will be tainted, your intelligence will be covered. That is why so desires are there in Tamogun, Rajogun, and Sattugun. So according to this, tam niyama masaya pragatya niyadeshtayam. Why they approach these demigods? Why they are approaching Krishna? Some people which having faith approach Krishna, some people having faith approach some demigods. Again, it is depending on the gunas only. When you are predominantly in lower gunas, like tamogun and rajogun, your object of worship will be Pitrus, Rakshasas, some other vulgar forms, and demigods also. But if you are in Sattvic Gun, you will be worshipping Vishnu forms and Krishna only. So, Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, in verses of 22, it mentions that from time immemorial, transcendentalists having rendering devotion service to Lord Krishna with great delight, because such devotion service is enlivening to self. The difference between devotion service to Krishna and devotion service to demigods is very clearly brought out here. Ado vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavadi kurvandi atma prasadinam. Paramaya muda, which with great delight, with supreme delight, they are worshipping Krishna, and that gives you satisfaction of the soul. It's enlivening to soul. So that is the difference between giving and when engaging devotion service to Krishna and engaging devotion service to demigods. It is enlivening to self. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Which sloga from Bhagavatam? Which
1.2.22. Atho vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavadi kurvandi atma prasadinam.
1.20.
Prasadini. 1.2.22.
Hare Krishna.
So they are always interested in worshipping Krishna. But then Krishna, he is also, from him only came all these gunas. So this is very difficult to understand. Krishna, all these gunas are coming from Krishna only. But Krishna is not there. But people like us, we are entrapped in these gunas. Sattvam rajas tamas siddhi prakriti gunas te yuktaha parapurusha ega yasya dhate sthiti ade hari virinji haredi samnya shreyamsi tatra khalu sattvatanor nrinamsyu. The transcendental personality, Parapurusha Ega Yasya Dhade, he accepts these gunas and creates these gunas, and he is also incarnating as a guna avataras as Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. And there is Hari Virinchi. Virinchi is Brahma. Virinchi is Brahma, and Hara is Shiva. So these three forms, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, they are in charge of three different gunas. Shiva for tamogun, Brahma for rajogun, and Vishnu for satogun. But here it is given that people who are can derive maximum benefit by rendering service to Vishnu forms in Satuguna. The reason was given in the previous verse because that is self-enlivening. But people who are in Rajogun, Tamogun, they worship different Devadas and different, even not in Devadas, Pitrus also. And sometimes ghostly ghosts and other forms. That is according to their nature. And they worship according to the rules and regulations given in Vedas for worshipping that particular deity. For worship Durga, so many paraphernalia and different methods of worshipping Durga and other demigods and deities. Everything is mentioned in Shastras and other Puranas. So they worship these the Devas. How they select these Devas? According to the Gunas. And once having selected these Devas, they worship the Devas according to the rituals given in the Vedas. But sometimes in Kali Yuga, we have seen that people are not only worshipping demigods, but they are worshipping some great persons also, when so-called people, Siddha Purushas, people having power, they are also worshipping these kinds of people also. So for taking shortcut, if you are a deceased person, if you want to get well immediately, sometimes people think why we should go to a doctor or hospital. It may be very costly, first of all, and there is no guarantee for cure also, and no guarantee for success also. So this such a yogi is there in this village or in this town. If you go to him, he will cure you, accepting only a little darshana. So people, they approach this Siddha Purusha and try to get cure from diseases. And there are so many gimmicks they played by these people, and they spread some rumors and all that, and a lot of publicity and all that. And finally, this person becomes very famous, and people come flock to him, and they make a big living out of this. And sometimes there are other people who say that, okay, if you give me 1 ounce of gold, I can make it 10 ounces of gold by doing some yajnas. He convinces others that there are so many yajnas by which you can multiple your wealth. If you have 1 ounce of gold, you can make it to 10 ounces. Like that way, he collects a lot of gold from other people, and then he escapes. Then absconds. He disappears. So this is happening in so many places, especially in India. People have got a lot of faith on these kind of swamis and these frauders, imposters. So we can see that this kind of faith is coming on from the lowest of the tamogun. At least if you are approaching a deva, some devas which is mentioned in Shastras, like in Shastra, we can see that in second canto, third chapter, verses some 7, 8, and 9, you will find a list of devadas to whom you can appreciate for your desires, fulfilling desires, varieties of desires. Like if you want to have good health, if you want to have good wife, and if you want wealth, if you want education, different like Saraswati is there, Lakshmi is there, and then of course you have Parvati. Of course, Lakshmi is not in this category. She's different. So that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, other Puranas. At least we can understand to some extent when you are approaching these demigods. But what we can say about these people who are approaching the so-called the swamis, yogis, and powerful persons, politically well powerful persons, they have some power, and you think that they can, if you please them, they can give you some good position or something like that. But the pure devotees, they know that Krishna is the source of everything. Everything is emanated from Krishna only, and whatever things which demigods can impart to their devotees ultimately come from Krishna only. So they never go to demigods for satisfaction of even his material needs. And pure devotees never go for these demigods. In Katwanga Samhita, it is very mentioned that even if you have to live with the alligator or if you with snakes and all that, or if there is a fire in your house, Ramanuja says, suppose there's a fire in your house, and only way to escape is to go to the next house which doesn't have fire. But if it is belonging to a non-devotee or devotee who is worshipping demigods, Ramanuja says, no, you should not go into the house, better get burned in your house, that fire, rather than going and taking ashraya or taking, what do you call, trying to escape with this fire by going to the other house. So such is the mentality or the determination of pure devotees, that he will depend only on Krishna, none else, no one else. And the next verse, Krishna speaks about why this is so, why people are approaching, and actually what is the philosophy behind this. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchidumichchadi tasya tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as super soul. As soon as one desires to worship demigods, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. So Krishna says that the faith which you have in these demigods is imparted by Krishna alone. You cannot develop faith on your own, nor can the demigods whom you are worshipping can instill this faith in you. Only Krishna, as Paramatma residing in our heart, can inspire a living entity or strengthen his faith, so he can approach the demigods of his choice. So Krishna says this very clearly. It's not the demigods, nor the person concerned who can enhance his faith. It's Krishna alone. So why is it so? Why is it so? It's very, very clear that there is no ultimate benefit in worshipping demigods. The ultimate benefit coming from Krishna only. So instead of directing these living entities to worship himself, why Krishna is directing these people to worship other deities? The answer given is
he doesn't want to interfere with the independence.
He doesn't want to interfere with the independence with the living entities. Otherwise, independence will not have any meaning. we are also having a tiny bit of a fraction of independence. Krishna is fully independent, but our independence is that we have been given independence by Krishna to desire. So our independence is restricted to having a desire. So accordingly, we can desire for material objects or we can desire for Krishna. That is our independence. Not that we are able to create whole worlds and like Krishna, you can do whatever you want, you can do. Even if you want it, even if you desire for something, to fulfill that desire, we have to depend on Krishna only. So we have independence. So we have our only independence is that we can desire. Our independence is restricted to that. And Krishna will not interfere with that desire or with that independence. Because then it will be, its a natural position will be disturbed. So Krishna allows, okay, you want to desire something, you do it. And according to qualification, Krishna is sitting in your hearts. Ishvara Sarvabhudanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtadi Brahmin Sarvabhudanam Yandra Rudhani Maya. Brahmin means is travel, is going through this material world, traveling all over. So that kind of Brahmin is controlled by Krishna, sitting inside as the Supreme Soul. That is, I think, verse 8 in 18th chapter. 61, Ishvara, yeah, 60. Ishvara Sarvabhudanam, sorry. It's 61. Ishvara Sarvabhudanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtadi Brahmin Sarvabhudani Yandra Rudhani Maya. So Krishna is directing this Brahmanam. And this Brahmanam, which way you want to go, is decided by the living entities. So when your desire is directed towards demigods, it is being encouraged or it is being fueled by Krishna. So they can render devotional service to Krishna, to those demigods. In one way, is Krishna is encouraging because these people are having some loving propensity. Like if your parents, they're giving dolls to their babies and children. And they care for these puppets and dolls, look after them, have very good relationship with these puppets and dolls, especially girls. And they give them some affection and love. Of course, parents know that these are not real, these puppets are not real. But then this loving propensity is there that is being developed. Ultimately, the children will know that these puppets are not real things. The real thing is different. So, but this this propensity is nourished. And because of this nourishment, he is able to love the real ones. Same way, if you have some affection for these demigods, and if you are pure in your heart, ultimately, after many births, you will understand that these demigods are only also dependent on Krishna only, and the real person behind everything is Krishna only. So our love, affection, everything should be reposed on Krishna only. To that understanding, these people will gradually evolve. So this is also gradual evolvement. It's a roundabout, indirect way only, which Krishna will state later in 9.7. This is indirect only, it's not direct worship. But indirect worship, so many because of your gunas, you are engaged in this, and Krishna is encouraging this nicely. So that ultimately, you get into the loving propensity, love Krishna only. So that's why Krishna says, Tasya tasyachalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. I am giving the strength and faith to these people who are worshipping demigods. But ultimately, now they will find out, next two verses will find out that this is very temporary only. And the real benefit is of praying through worshipping Krishna only. And slowly, gradually, they will reach that stage, maybe after many births. But if you are having knowledge, people with knowledge, they will understand that Krishna is source of everything. Only Krishna is the supreme. And to worship supreme is the most intelligent thing. And this kind of intelligence we can acquire by reading authorized scriptures under the authorized guidance of authorized spiritual masters. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Right. Damaji can enter Narasimha Kirtan. Snigdhamaji is there. Are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you can render Narasimha Kirtan. That
Yes,
is, if you don't
Prabhuji.
have any doubts, any clarification you need, you can ask. Otherwise, okay.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Praladadayini, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Shilatanka Nakhalai, Ito Nasingha Bharato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Bahir Narsinga Hridayir Narsinga Narsingham Adi Sharanam Prapade Tabakar Kamala Bare Nakham Adbhuta Srungam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhrangam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsingadev 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 Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Narahari 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 Jaya Narahari Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Om Ugrang Mirang Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukham Nrsingham Vishanam Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham Om Ugrang Mirang Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukham Nrsingham Vishanam Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham Om Ugrang Mirang Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukham Nrsingham Vishanam Bhadrang Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham Sri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jai Jai Sri Narsimha Praladesa Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhangam Sri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jai Jai Sri Narsimha Praladesa Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhangam Sri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jai Jai Sri Narsimha प्रह्लादेश जय पद्मा मुखा पद्मा भृंग। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
भक्ति विनाशकारी देव भगवान की, वैष्णव
जय
भक्त श्रेष्ठ बड़ा महाराज की,
जय।
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
सिंधु भयवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
नंदकोടി वैष्णव की,
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की,
जय
निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।